Welcome to After the Wedding. I'm your host, Sabrina Porter. In 2025, we celebrate 20 years of hosting lovely, joy-filled weddings here at Villa Sienna. In celebration, we decided to embark on an interview project about what happens after the wedding. Thank you for joining us as we hear from couples who've been building their marriage for many years. We appreciate how they've chosen to share their joy and challenges as they navigate their life together. Welcome to After the Wedding. I'm Sabrina Porter, and I'm so excited today that I'm going to be interviewing and chatting with Cassandra and Richard, my sister and brother-in-law. So thank you for coming.
We're glad to be here.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, your story is one that I do know a little bit. I don't know everything about your story, but I do know the length of it. Now tell me how long you've been married.
43.
43 years.
He keeps track a little better than I do.
Okay, so that's a long time. So, Cassandra, you were what, like 2-3 years old?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know. Yes, I was 10.
Yeah.
We joke about it because he's 8 years older than me, and then I think Gary was 8 years older than Richard.
Okay.
So like there was kind of this funny 8 thing going on, but we were in Canada. You remember we went to the Thousand Islands? And Richard was on his mission in Canada.
All right.
When I was 12, he was 19.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So 8 years older. No, I remember when you got married, it was like,
We didn't
wow.
know each other then. So
We didn't
why
know
bring
each
that
other.
up? Yeah.
We didn't know
each
it makes me
other
laugh.
then.
It's
Exactly.
funny.
So, okay, tell me how you did meet. Let's hear a little about your story. How did you meet?
At Utah State University.
Okay.
So you were a freshman, and I was, I guess technically I was a graduate student, but I was working for the head of the music department, and she got a job as work study, and so I had some supervisory
Yeah, so he was my
capacities.
boss, was basically it.
Okay. And you were both musicians, right?
We're both musicians.
Okay,
This
both
is
musicians.
the music department, yes.
Yeah.
So he was in the listening lab. Ran the listening lab, and I had hours, and so he gave me jobs to do.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that was how it all started.
That was the last time I gave her jobs to do.
That was the end of you giving her jobs. Okay. Things changed.
That's right.
So you guys got married then at the end of your freshman year of college, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that was a big shift in growing up.
Yes, it definitely was. Well, and I'll say too, so when I started working there, and Richard was, he was kind of in charge of the listening lab, and I also took role for this class of like 500, and he was the audiovisual specialist for that class, so he had to kind of teach me how to take role in such a large arena. But I remembered thinking like, ooh, he has facial hair. Like, he has a mustache. This is a man. I've been dating all these
mustaches
boys.
are back. 70s mustaches are back now, you know.
All right, I know. Yeah,
that's the
so
thing.
I didn't think they left, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
There were some eras, and now they're back.
well, now they're back. Yeah. So I was like, I thought that was kind of cool. And then he had to teach me how to do this role thing, and so he came over to my dorm for that. We had kind of like it was more like an apartment than a dorm. It had an exterior, it was, there were 6 of us, and we had a kitchen and everything. So, so I thought, well, I'm really good at, it was kind of a thing that I do. It'd be really charming and flirtatious and
Make all the
find some
boys
cute
fall in love
guys.
with you.
Yeah, I played my guitar and I could sing, and, I'd make up songs, and so I would play stuff, and they would all just go, oh. And then I would be sort of bored of them after they all fell in love with me. And it was just an insecurity thing. I just felt like I always needed to have some boyfriend, or I wasn't, worthwhile. So I tried this with Richard, and he was completely not impressed.
Unimpressed.
So
then.
Yeah, he said, that's great. Let me borrow your guitar? He
was
has
probably
a
good at
degree
the
in
same
classical guitar,
Yeah.
so he could just play circles around me, and I was like, wow. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then he had really fun dates.
Oh, that's fun.
came
Do you
up
have
with
any
it.
dates that you remember in particular?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we went to a lot of concerts.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, with both
But
of
like
you being
not
musicians.
like,
Well, yeah, not like
first one was Irina Zeitlin, a Russian violinist virtuoso.
Okay, those kind of concerts.
Yes.
Yes,
Those kind of
exactly.
And that's not what I was used to.
classical kind of.
Right.
I'm a musician, but like the boys that I dated, that wasn't anything they would have thought of.
They wanted to go to Journey. Okay.
And classical guitarists and things like that. So,
So you took her to all of these kinds of concerts, and she felt like that was you.
Well, and it wasn't even like, I didn't even think it was a date. It was like,
Oh.
hey, there's this great classical guitarist playing down at BYU.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you want to drive down there with me? And I'm like, oh, cool, we're friends. I mean, you know, at the same time, I'm thinking like, why isn't he falling for me? But at the same time, thought, hey, we have this working relationship.
He was a subtle pursuer.
Very, very much
subtle.
so. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
That
we
sounds
drove down
about
there
right.
and we
Yeah.
like sang, you know, all of our favorite musicals, all the songs from our favorite musicals all the way
that's so
down.
fun.
And it was like the funnest date I'd ever had. How was it for you?
it was one of the funnest dates I ever had.
Good answer. Good answer.
No, you didn't find a whole lot. I didn't find a whole lot of girls that knew musicals,
Right.
and so that we could sing the songs from My Fair Lady or Music Man or things like that. You know.
And we felt
you shared your love of
Brigadoon was our
music.
favorite
That was
musical,
a-
and we
Brigadoon,
shared that. That was really
That was a really
fun.
big bonding place.
Yeah.
Early on, and then you got married right after your freshman year. And is there anything you remember about your wedding that you've thought of at all since that time?
Well, there was some drama. So,
Okay.
I mean, I was, you know, so all this whole time I'm thinking like, why? I mean, we went to see a movie at the, you know, like the student union dollar movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, thinking, okay, he's going to put his arm around me. And he like leaned away from me. And I was like, what is going on here?
Okay.
So that
He was playing.
I don't
hard to
remember
get.
that one.
Yeah.
Playing hard to get, I guess.
No,
but I don't
yeah, he
remember.
wasn't thinking about it. Anyway, so we were like, you know, kind of going down that road, but I was also really concerned that I did not want to get married until I got my degree.
Oh,
you know, like,
okay,
so, you
yeah.
know, because our dad was very much like, don't get married and be a baby factory, and you need to, you know, so that was really a goal that I had, and I thought, I can't get married. So when he finally did ask me to marry him, after he mentioned it, he was like, you know, you're somebody I think I might want to marry. And that was like 6 weeks went by until he said anything else, and I'm thinking, is he going to ask what's happening? You know,
Was that
like,
a
this is
proposal,
exciting,
or
but
was
is it
that-
exciting?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So when he finally did, then I was like, oh, I think I have to think about it because I don't have my degree yet.
Oh, yeah.
After he finally gets all down on one knee.
Yeah, she was like, when are you going to ask me? And so I did, and she said, I'll think about it.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I was a little conflicted, but you know, I was 18, so
Yeah, that was
I'm just
young.
saying. It was
But so
really
then
young.
you were 19 when you got married.
right. I
Yeah.
just turned 19.
Okay. But you were a little bit older.
I was
Yes.
27.
27. Okay. So you were like, yeah, man.
Yes,
That-
and Sabrina, Mom
And she
said,
was concerned about that too, about marrying
somebody older.
somebody older.
I don't remember being that concerned about
I
it.
remember conversations about it.
Oh, okay.
do.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, okay, so in that first year, there was a lot of getting to. Actually, I want you to tell me that story, the getting in. There was that sick story. You have
Yes.
to tell that story. When you were dating, right?
Yes.
You were in the
and
dating
we were
phase.
engaged. So
Oh, they
you
were
know,
engaged.
We were
Okay.
engaged. I'd met his family, his mom, and he lived in Logan, and I lived in the dorms. And then, of course, Mom and all my family was 2 hours away, so no one really could help me. So I remember I went to bed one night and I just didn't feel well. And my roommate was one of my good friends from high school, and so I was like, I just feel awful, my stomach. And she said, well, maybe if you go throw up, you know, sometimes that makes you feel better or whatever. And I had gotten ready for bed. I'd started getting ready for bed, and I was wearing. You remember how Grandma Fife used to make those flannel nightgowns for us? Except the elastic was too tight, so I like ripped the elastic out of the sleeves, and it was missing all the buttons, so it had like pins, but it was so comfortable. You know, I
Right.
was really happy, but I started taking my makeup off, and I went to lie down. Anyway, I went, you know, and threw up, and was like, it was awful. But then I drank and everything else, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to be okay. And I went back to my bed, and then it was like I couldn't stop
You got-
throwing up.
yeah.
And, you know, I hadn't taken my mascara off. So I'm like crying and snot and all the rest. And we had one phone in the hallway. And so I'd like be running from the bathroom to call mom and to say, I don't know, and then going, like I had to keep dropping the phone and running back and forth and back and forth. It was awful. And she said, you have to call Richard. I said, I can't call Richard. She says, you got to get to the hospital. Somehow they've got to get you. So I called Richard, and it was also like,
2 o'clock in the morning or something? Or?
It wasn't that bad, but it was pretty late. I mean, it was probably like 11 or so. And so he came with his mom. She was so sweet. And that was in the days of bench seats in the car. So I was sitting in the middle, and she'd brought a bowl for me.
Oh, no.
And so on the way to the car, I'm there in my little ratty nightgown with pins and mascara, like all down my face, going into this bowl right next to him. Oh, it was so sick. Anyway, I got there. They finally gave me, I had some kind of really bad stomach flu. It wasn't food poisoning. It was just really, really bad stomach flu. So they gave me all that stuff and gave me a shot for the nausea. And anyway, so then he was outside the curtain. And you should tell this part of the story.
This is the funny part.
Well, so the nurse is talking to me, saying, "Oh, so you're engaged?" And I went, "Yeah." She goes, "You're really getting to know her, aren't you?"
I just thought that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, it's funny because like that whole year, whenever I'd wake up and go, "Oh, I look so bad," and he'd say, "Not as bad as that one time in the hospital."
So you got to
everywhere.
There's a baseline there.
That's set the bottom. It
There
set
was a
what
nice
the bottom
low bar.
could possibly be.
When I wake up with my hair sticking up and whatever,
I know.
at least it's not as bad as that.
True love. Yeah, that's
I know,
true
because
love.
I was 18, so like every zit's popped out of my face and red and my mascara. I'm
Blotchy
sure.
and
I'm
yes,
sure I was
the
just,
whole thing.
Yes. So that was definitely. I knew that he loved me.
That
he
was
could-
a good. Yeah, that was
That
a
he
good.
if we could live
test.
through that.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Well, I always thought that was so funny. Okay, so thinking about that adjustment, if you think about people who are first either maybe they've been living together, but now they're married or they haven't been living together, so instead of focusing on the things that you adjust to from the living together part, what did you feel like in that early stages that you really had to adjust to of being married to someone else?
I don't know, that first year we had moved over to a little town at the bottom of Bear Lake called Randolph, and I was teaching over there, and so we had a job over there. So that was kind of an adjustment in and of itself. We were both kind of away from everybody.
Well, and I was still going to school at Utah State, so there's this huge mountain range in between with terrible canyons and everything, and then on the other side, Bear Lake. And
How long of a drive was
Randolph.
that?
It was like, 45 minutes. It was pretty long, and I did that every day, back and forth. Maybe it was 40, but it was long. And one night I hit a deer on my way back,
my
and was
goodness.
just or I'd come back.
So you
sometimes
basically
late.
cursed him that whole first year.
No, I was so excited to go back
You were happy
him.
to be happy to go
Yeah.
home. Okay.
And it's a funny thing because it's like, he was still at home. He was still doing graduate work, whatever, working for the university. I'm new, whatever. I'm a musician. I'm thinking like, we'll live on love.
didn't have any maybe
idea.
money was the biggest
Well,
first adjustment. Like,
yes. The thing
Yeah.
was that Richard was like, I'm getting married. I guess I better get a job.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
So
A
he
real
got this
job. Yeah.
And it was awful. It was just an awful, awful situation. He was like teaching music in a K through 12 tiny school with no curriculum.
But also English, which was I didn't train
was
to
it
be
a
an
one-room
English teacher.
schoolhouse with kids from
Yes,
kindergarten
not
to
quite, but yeah.
18?
It was hard.
So that was an adjustment. There was
an
an adjustment to work. There
It was a
an
whole
adjustment
life adjustment in
a whole
a
life
lot of
adjustment.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Did you find that your expectations about marriage aligned, or was there some disconnect there? And if there was disconnect,
I don't know. I've thought about this and wondered what expectations I had. I don't remember what I'm sure I had some. and I'm sure they weren't the reality.
Right.
But I don't remember what they were. I just figured this is a roller coaster ride, and that we're on it now. So let's go.
Hang on,
hang
because
on.
the roller coaster's
Yeah.
going. Yeah. Do you
It was
remember any, Cassandra?
Yes. I mean, I remember more than we have time for, probably. I don't know. I remember just thinking, like, how can he hurt my feelings that way? I remember, like, just being really upset about something, and he'd say, "What's wrong?" And I'd say, "Nothing." He'd be like, "Come on, I know something's wrong." "No, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong." And it was that kind of like, if you
Coaxing
don't
it.
know, I'm not going to tell you.
Yes.
Like, you should know what's wrong with me,
If you
And
don't
what's-
know, you don't deserve to know.
Exactly. And so, like, that sort of childish thing. But, it was whatever it was that I was upset about or hurt or angry or whatever.
Yeah.
And he would try so hard. He was so patient about that. And I have to say, like, after the first couple of years, he would be like, "What's wrong?" And I'd say, "Nothing." And he'd say, "Okay." And then I'd say, "Okay, come back and I'll tell you." Because I knew that was my window.
The number of attempts of asking what's
They
wrong.
like kind of went down as it went.
Right.
Yes. So then I would have to do that.
Well, that's
and
part of
then
maturing as well too, is understanding that you're going to need to share.
Right.
What-
Well, and I got really sick my second term. They were on quarters, so 3 quarters. The winter quarter, I had like basically like toxic shock syndrome.
Okay.
I'd been keeping a diaphragm in too long.
yeah.
I'd had all these medical issues anyway with female issues. I had endometriosis and all kinds of problems, lots of pain with periods. And so I just thought I was having a really heavy anyway, I ended up in intensive care, and they almost he was like, "We have to see how things go overnight, and we may have to remove all your organs."
Wow.
Like, I know, so I'm 19 and about to be no uterus,
Yeah.
So that was really scary. And again, I'm in Logan and he's on the other side of the mountain, and it was really, really awful. So I was in there for a long time, and then was basically on the couch in our, I couldn't go to school during all of that.
During that whole time.
And then when I went back again spring semester, I just couldn't do the drive back and forth, so I stayed with Richard's mom.
Oh, right.
And so I'd be there 4 days a week, and then on Friday I'd
You'd
go back.
go back.
And I'd be so excited to see him. And this is a funny thing I think about getting to know people and
Yeah.
living and cohabitating, because I'd been doing my little thing at school and going and sleeping at her house and whatever. And then I'd come home so excited to see him. We'd just fall into each other's arms and be so happy. And literally within like 15 minutes, we were fighting over something. And it was just like getting used to that other person in your space, was just hard. And then by the end of the weekend, we were all good and great. And then I had to leave again, and I'm sad. And it was exhausting.
So it's sort of getting to know you over. I think a lot of military couples have those same dynamics that are really challenging, or even people who have jobs where, firefighters who work sometimes 2 or 3 days in a row, and, people who have longer periods
Yeah.
apart.
I can imagine, yeah.
Because you get used to your rhythm,
Right.
and then you're back in each other's spaces, and it's very challenging.
It's weird.
It
Yes.
is. So let's fast forward a little bit in your story and come to your first really big challenge together, when you guys went to Oregon, and you're going to graduate school in Oregon. You were, and Cassandra was kind of finishing up her degree, both in music, and you got pregnant with your first baby, and you'd been married how long about at that time? Do you think?
3
Let's see,
years,
3 years. Let's see,
He remembers the dates better than I do.
4 years.
4 years.
Because Christopher was born in 86.
Okay.
In '86.
That's good memory.
So tell us about that experience and about how that was in your marriage and what happened during that time.
Oh man, there's a lot. So we had a lot of hardship in this marriage, and I have to say that is one thing I'm grateful for, is that Richard's just so steady and just would not give up on us. And because a lot of the things that we went through are things that it's a big reason that people
Sometimes don't make it.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I was young, but I was also super strong-willed. So I didn't want to have another year of how miserable and horribly he hated that job and how hard it was living in the middle of nowhere. It was the coldest place in the nation, like almost every year in winter. So going to Oregon and going back to school sounded great. And it really didn't even occur to me that we're basically paying out-of-state tuition on student loans completely. We had no money.
So money
We
wasn't,
had
you
nothing.
weren't very good at the money calculation.
Let me
never
say
good at
right
that.
here, though, that all of these things that she has just done this, and I say, let's think about this for a minute, and then she
Charges
plows on ahead.
forward.
But they've been really wonderful things in our lives.
Oh, that's
So
a
I mean,
that's
they've
generous of
we've
you,
had a lot
Richard.
of really good things
Adventures.
come out of a lot of good adventures come out
Yeah.
of those things.
A lot of things that Richard never would have done.
Right.
Or that our whole family never would have done.
Right.
But I said, let's do this. And those were really fun years. Like before we had kids, especially, we were, and I think that's a really important thing. It's hard when you go right into job, right into responsibility, right into children. I mean, I think there's great blessings. It's a blessing that I was as young as I was, that we had that time. So there's the plus of that. People do wait to get married so they can take care of career and blah, 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 blah. And then they're sort of under the gun if they want to have a family. And I mean, I know for me, if I had waited, we wouldn't have children. If I hadn't, because I had endometriosis, which is a huge, thing for
Issue,
infertility. And but I had talked to other people who had endometriosis, and having a baby is like the very best thing that you can do to get things going again. And so that really saved me, having a baby so early. And I mean, after we had 4 babies, our first one, of course, passed away of sudden infant death, and then Rachel passed away.
So let's just
later.
stop there for just a minute.
Okay.
So we lost Christopher.
Yes.
And that was that was really your first big challenge. I mean, you had obviously had a few
Yeah,
challenges.
other
We always
things, but I
had that.
imagine most of the challenges we had at the beginning were similar to other people. I mean,
Yeah.
But that was a pretty-
normal
that
wedding
was a
things.
That one was
pretty-
devastating.
But
I
that
didn't
one,
think I'd recover. I had never felt pain like that.
Christopher was 10 weeks old when he passed away.
So that was very hard.
And so very unexpected and very, just trying to wrap your mind around it.
Especially at that young age, and it's your first baby, so it's very...
Yeah, it was not something you would even consider happening, and then all of a sudden...
And he was premature, and I had a really bad infection again, and so I was in the hospital longer than he was, actually. They were ready to send him home before I could go home. And I was at Oregon.
University of
U
Oregon.
that's right. And Eugene is like the Lechelle League capital of the world.
Right.
So I brought him with me to class. I have him in the Snuggly. I nursed him through every class. I had him all the time.
Okay.
And I had one class, a singing class, where he didn't want to have the distraction of a baby. So I had a friend who watched him during that time. And I remember too, I was sitting on the couch nursing Christopher, and my friend who watched him. We were talking, and she told me about a friend, a mutual acquaintance of ours that we knew, who had just lost her baby to anencephaly. So the baby was going to die as soon as she gave birth, that thing. And I just couldn't conceive of it. I mean, the sun's streaming through the window. He's just cute and smiling, and I just I couldn't even understand it.
Imagine.
And then it was probably 2 or 3 weeks after that. It was so that was a big eye opener for me as a human to know what it's
Life
like.
is so fragile. And
What it's like to be like that. And when someone says, I just don't even know what that feels like, I'm like, I totally know how you feel. But then I also remember after, when Dad, Leroy, came and he was great, took care of us, just took care of the hospital, took us to dinner, whatever. And I remember just thinking how am I walking? How am I even functioning right now? I can't even live. And looking around and seeing other people and thinking are they having pain like I'm having? I mean, it was just so wrenching.
horrible.
And to suddenly understand that pain exists of that magnitude in this world was, it was tough.
Very, very, very challenging.
But
And
we survived.
that's the part that I wanted to, I'm sorry to bring up this super
It's
painful
all right.
thing, but
We're
feel like
grateful we have him.
life is so precious, and going through hard things, that's pretty much the hardest thing there is, I think, for a couple. I mean, there are a lot of hard things.
There's a lot of hard things.
But losing a child is
Yeah. I don't know. I just think this world is pain. Like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Or challenge. This world's challenge.
The challenge. There are challenges that and that's death is part of life. It's something that's always going to happen. And I don't mean to make light of this, but I just will say that I'm still grateful. I'm so grateful I had him. I'm so grateful that I had Richard to help me, even though I think the hardest thing was we were in so much pain, we couldn't be sensitive to each other. So he'd say something to me and I'd think, how can you be that way when you know how badly I'm hurting?
Right.
And
'Cause
that's
you
where
we were not
hurting
grieving in the
so
same
much.
way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
that's
that was hard. We had to be very patient.
right.
Very
But I mean,
patient with each other during
People
that
have,
time.
like, I think, because I've thought I could have an unfaithful spouse. I could have a child on drugs. I could have a son who was drunk and hit and killed a family. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, there's so
There's
many
many
levels
things.
of horrible things that could happen. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was easy or anything, but I just will say, like, I felt like what it really did is taught me compassion. And it taught me gratitude, I guess. And
To really focus your attention on the things that are wonderful and
great.
beautiful in life. Because if you just focus on the things that are hard and painful,
yes, it's not
not a
fun
formula
life.
for a life that's going to be
Right.
survivable.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had to really, that was hard. But I have to say it was also good that we weren't around anybody. We had
okay.
friends, you know what I mean? We really just had each other.
Your family, you mean?
Yeah, my family, your family. I mean, we were very isolated from everybody.
So you really
So we
had to
had to lean on each other.
had to really
we
come
had to
together.
figure it out. Yeah.
and figure it out. So that's that kind of challenge, and early in a marriage is really it's pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Pretty awful.
Yeah.
But you guys made it through, and went on to have
so
much
far,
more joy.
We still have our ups and downs.
Still working on it.
I mean, I have to say, 2 years ago, when we were making the move, I was talking to Richard and I was thinking, this is an insurmountable, it was about the move and a long story, but I thought, we can't move past this. I don't know that I can live with him anymore. We've been married for 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's never
It's not
over.
like all of a sudden it's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
I mean, for some people,
not
maybe
easy,
for some
yeah,
people,
no.
it's smooth
There's no
sailing
point
the whole
where all of a
time.
sudden-
You never know. But I haven't just met those people. But there might be. There might
Maybe.
be some people out
They
there.
probably just don't talk about it.
Right.
All the hard things.
That's
you know?
maybe true. That is maybe true. But I
There's
think
gotta
so.
be. No, there's no point where all of a sudden it's
Like,
all
just
daisies,
easy.
you know.
So let's talk a little about how you guys interact with one another when it comes to, say, for example, making decisions. So making decisions in every relationship when you're doing something that's going to impact both of you, it is a challenge, right? So what's your methodology? I mean, how do you do it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure we have a methodology. Do we have a methodology?
You were talking too about like what are things that surprises, what you didn't expect, or whatever it is. So I am somebody who I am a brainstormer, and I'm also like I get this great idea and I'm excited about it and I want to do it right away. Richard takes time
To think about it.
and to get, and so I would say let's move here, or let's do this. And he would be like, what?
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. That's terrible. No, we can't take a vacation there. No. And so he would throw up all these no. And then I'd go
Reasons why
wow.
it shouldn't happen.
All right, this is going to be a big thing. I guess I'll just forget that. And then the next day he'll say so when are we moving?
Oh, okay. So it just takes him a little bit longer to get used to the idea.
I got to work through the logistics in my head
So that was helpful.
and
if I
see
could
how I'm going to
remember
get
it.
through there. Yeah.
Yeah, then I would start to, and also I have to say I have a little bit of the ready, shoot, aim, So sometimes I know he just kind of waits to see, is she really going to stick with this?
Yeah, is this
Or not?
something that's a real thing that is going to happen,
Yes.
or is this something?
just-
Do, do I want to say anything yet, or just wait and see if it blows over?
Right.
That's a pretty good tactic. I think that a lot of people maybe can learn from that tactic of if someone's really excited about something. I think this happens too when people say you come home from work and you're, all you have something in your head and you're, thinking this, I think this, and then the more you think about it, you actually change your mind, whether it's about a decision or about something else, but you kind of, the more you think about it, you change your mind. And just saying it out loud sometimes to the other person makes you realize, no, maybe that's not the thing,
And Richard's a really good sounding board. So, he's a good listener. Although the longer we've been married, sometimes I think he just goes about his business. I don't think he's really listening to me. So every once in a while I'll say, so what do you think? And he'll be like, what?
Well,
It's been 40 minutes.
40 minutes of nonstop talking, so maybe.
No, I laughed that we're going to be retired and we're going to just both be there in our rocking chairs and I will just talk all the time.
Chattering away.
And he will just be silent. He'll never say anything. So I'm trying to let him talk.
Reed's grandmother used to say before she passed away, she would say, he doesn't listen to me, he just takes his hearing aid out and I just talk away and he doesn't listen to anything I have to say. And I think he's got his hearing aid in. So,
Right.
it's one method. It's one method of managing. But some people think out loud. And you're maybe
Right.
more one of those
That's
people.
me.
So part of it is that, right?
Yeah.
So on decisions though, back
No,
to
and
that.
that's one of the things I feel like I learned was I learned that she needed to talk it out. Me, it all happens internal, and I have to sort that out, and I have
You
to
prefer sorting it out privately in your own
in my own
mind,
mind,
and she
then-
really
but
prefers
she needs to talk
processing
it
it
out.
out loud.
And so I learned that was part of my job is to listen and let her sort that out, and then we'll deal with it. But
with
whatever it is, yeah.
that decision is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, what about when you guys get really busy, as you often are? What do you do to keep your relationship alive and doing things? What do you do? How do you stay connected? I mean, obviously talking a lot does create a lot of connection, right? So, or at least one person talking and the other one listening.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we used to try to do date nights and things like that, but I don't know.
What has
sometimes
created
our
the most
schedules
real
don't really.
connections, I guess, is the
Yeah.
question.
Okay,
What's
yeah.
created the most real?
I don't know. Okay, so there's two things that I'm thinking about. So as far as now, and I would say probably the last 10 years or more, I figured out that if I'm home, I'm going to work. Because I'm in sales, there's always something to do in sales, always. And I will just work all the time. And so I really have to go away before I...
To spend time.
I mean, one thing I do is I turn my phone off one day a week. I don't look at it or think about it. And going away. So I always think, I have all these things to do. I'm going to bring them with me. And you get on the airplane, and it's like everything sort of is left
They
on
float
the ground.
away.
Yeah, they float away.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of needs. I need my husband to help me with the dishes, help me with the children, tell me I'm beautiful, give me all these things, take me places, love me, give me food, fix stuff for me. He has one need.
Oh, there you go.
And if I help him with that one need, he will do
Everything
anything for
else
me.
works well.
Yeah, and I mean, it was really something like, why is he pressuring me about sex? I don't want to have it. I don't care. I don't want it. I'm too busy to even think about it. I don't even feel sexy. And knowing that was something that was, we all have different needs.
Sure.
And I've talked with this about other women who are of all ages, and they have said it's like, women have all these thoughts. Men are thinking either I want a sandwich or
There's only
pretty
there's
basic,
only
right?
They're simpletons is what Reed
and
says.
so
yeah.
having that, setting that aside and saying this is happening, we're gonna have some time together that I'm gonna turn my phone off, and so we try to, even if it's only a couple of days. I mean, we're going away. Really, we live on a Thursday afternoon and we're coming back on a Saturday. I mean, we're barely even gone a day. But just having a couple of nights, being in a different environment, being in a place where there's not all these other distractions. It's I don't know.
important.
It's the reason I can still stand you. and hopefully that you can
Well, it
still stand
allows
me.
you to relax a little bit. So you're leaving your worries behind, and you're also just having some time that isn't so scheduled and so busy, and you might
And
be
so many
having
interruptions
fun. And yeah, interruptions, and you're just sort of out of your normal grind.
Yeah.
So I think that is true. I think your mind, everything about how you feel when you can get out of your own grind, your own
Go to a restaurant. Yeah.
That's
daily.
right. Well, and I will
yeah.
say too, because again, I'm grateful that I got married young.
Yeah.
Because we really had fun. When we were students, Richard always he kind of thought it would be fun to do musicals, but he never had. And so I made him come to auditions, and then he's like the lead, and I'm in the chorus, which sucked. but I mean, I had a couple of leads, but so he did really well. So we did all this musical theater on the mall. That was like our summer job.
So that's a big way to connect. That's
It
sort
was-
of like taking your passion and bringing it
Yeah.
into sort of your outside hobby life, the
Right.
part of your life that is.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And so like when our kids were growing up, and I would say, I can't wait till you guys go away, grow up and move away, and then we can eat quiche, we can eat salad, we can go to the opera.
Yeah. Because you
Anyway,
guys don't want
I
to do
wanted
that.
my kids to know
Yeah.
that I love you, but I love him more, and he's more fun to be with. I love you, and you're wonderful, but you're never going to take his place because you're just not as fun as he is. Sorry. And I mean, I needed to tell myself that.
Yeah.
Because there are times, honestly, where your kids, you know what I mean? You no one would divorce their children. I want to have that same relationship that I have, that I feel as a mother about my children with my spouse. I want Richard to be my friend. I want to do fun things together because we did.
Yeah.
That's why we got married.
Right.
Yeah.
You married me because I'm
Well,
fun.
and
Yeah.
Fun
it's
too.
interesting because one of the things that I'm picking up that I think is actually kind of a conscious thing is deciding that you're going to look for those positive things and make those positive things happen. Just deciding that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of deciding that you're going to pick and poke and criticize and be negative and think of all the reasons this is bad and this person
Yeah.
bugs you and they're failing you and
Yeah.
it's choice. It's
It
a
is a-
choice.
It's a
It is a
choice
choice.
and an
100%
attitude.
Yeah,
a
it
choice.
is. When we got married, I said, we are never going to swear at each other. That's my rule. I'm never going to call you a nasty name. I'm not, I may scream and yell at you, but I'm not going to abuse you in some way.
I know,
You know?
I kind of did a similar thing where I don't know if we actually ever said this, but I remember really thinking in my mind that I just never was considering divorce. I just was never considering it. It was not coming into my realm, murder maybe, but not divorce, right? So I think that it just is like, that's not coming into my mind. So I think we bring different things to each other's lives, right? Sometimes, and in the long, long marriages, there probably are. It's like we wish it was smooth sailing the whole way, but it may not be.
It'd be kind of boring,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think all of us need some challenges. We need ways to find deeper wells of what we have, Like I have to say, I'm not really a sensitive person. You are very sensitive. Richard is very sensitive. Mom, Jeremy, they can tell when people are unhappy. They can, and I'm just kind of oblivious to all of it. I've said I couldn't be a marriage therapist because I would just be like, snap out of it. I don't want to hear your problems. You're like a big whiner.
Get over it.
Yes, get over it. So, and I mean, I'm really healthy and I'm like very energetic. And so having all those hard things happen is what taught me compassion. And so that people don't just say, oh yeah, well you have all these wonderful things. Then I say, I've lost 2 children.
I know I was going to say, can we talk about that second loss just for a minute? I mean, it's a lot. You guys are really delving into some very tender emotions, and I don't want to overwhelm with that, but I think you've had so much more than your fair share of hardship in this area.
But you know what? It's part of us. And
Right.
It's part of our family and our memories. I mean, I would talk about Rachel and Christopher all the time. All the fun memories.
I think when you have big losses, the way I've been thinking about it is you have to just stitch it into your soul because you're going to be living with it. And so
Yeah.
you need to stitch it into your soul and make friends with it. And because that pain will be there. So tell us just a little bit about Rachel.
Well, I'm not sure. This might be where I get.
Okay, well, I mean, I can summarize a little
So,
if you want, or if you want to.
Well, let me try. Rachel got sick when she was 8 years old.
So this is your third child, your
This is
fourth
our fourth
child.
child.
Child, right?
Yeah.
And so we lost Christopher. Then we had two boys,
Two
Matthew
boys.
and Jeremy. And then we had Rachel. And she got sick when she was 8 years old. And we thought she had some cold, flu, something, but it just kind of hung on. Took her to
She
the
had a
hos-
fever
She had
for
a
a
fever. She had a
long time,
fever
yeah.
for a long time. So we took her to the doctor, and finally took her to the hospital, and they did an X-ray, and they found a mass in her chest. And the first thing they told us was, well, we're worried that it might be cancer,
Like leukemia.
leukemia or something. And then after a day or two in the hospital, they came back and said, no, we don't think it's that. We
Yeah.
think it's might be valley fever. And we thought, oh, well, surely that's better than cancer.
Rachel, it turned out, had a genetic disorder that she couldn't fight fungal infections. Nobody really dies of valley fever, but the only treatment for valley fever is just to treat it with antifungals so it will stop growing so that your immune system can recover. So she'd try all these different antifungals and it would get under control and then it would become resistant and it would just flare up again. So it was really like years. It was 8 years of back and forth in the hospital, sick, not sick. But oh my goodness, she was really special. She was very feisty and very funny and very sweet.
So she was, sorry. So she was 8 when she got it, but she passed away when she was 17.
17.
And so we spent a lot of time.
Yes, we did. We spent a lot of time.
lot of time.
And yeah. But she was never wanted to be the sick girl. You know,
No.
she went to school.
She was very determined.
Yeah,
Very,
and
very
she was,
determined
I mean,
and
her
very-
funeral was like, it was like probably almost 400 people
Yeah,
came.
so many.
From her school, from Phoenix Girls Choir, sang, and her friends spoke and, you know, talked about how she was like everyone's first friend. That she would always look for people who didn't, you know, like was new and she knew what that was like. And,
Yes.
so she skied,
has a-
she
she
sang,
has a
she
very-
traveled with the Phoenix Girls Choir. She was qualified for Merit Scholar with her, you know, PSAT or whatever that you take when you're a junior.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's very
it was-
smart.
Yeah, so she was very special, and they closed the school the day that they announced that nobody could even go to class. So it was she was a powerful influence on a lot of people's lives and definitely on ours. But
On all of ours. I always remember if she was at my house and we made cookies or did anything, she always said, "Can I take some home for my brothers?" She was so kind that way. She would always make sure she would bring back whatever it was because she wanted to share it. So she really was very special in that way, even though I know she wasn't just always nice, but she really was.
she was
such,
pretty feisty.
Yeah, but such a thoughtful
Yeah.
and kind person.
Yeah, she was. She was really great.
We didn't know how feisty some of the time until the funeral, and her friends talked about her.
Yeah, that was fun.
So,
Yeah.
That was fun.
But you know, it's
So-
funny because having that loss of Christopher when really, I mean, even to think about it is such searing pain. I just really I just felt like, how am I walking?
Right.
I can't survive this. I can't do it. And at the funeral, you know, people, they're well-meaning, but I had this woman said, well, just be glad you lost him when he was a baby because I lost my son when he was 19 and that was the worst pain. And I thought, I would have loved to have him for 19 years.
Yeah.
But I have to say that remembering that later and thinking, I had Rachel for 16 years, you know, as horribly hard as that was, I'm grateful for every minute of it
Right.
and grateful that she had peace eventually.
And she had you guys her whole life, you know?
Right.
She got
and
both-
we had a job where we could, you know, like Richard was able to be with her a lot.
lot.
In the hospital. We had some flexibility there. And and great family and friends. So that was, I don't know. It was.
That was a support. So that was yet another really big challenge, I would say, for the marriage and for your family, and a challenge that I think a lot of marriages don't survive or struggle to survive.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you have any thoughts on why, you feel like your marriage was able to survive that? And I mean, is there...
Well, and I'll say that's not the only big things that we've had some private things that have happened that have been really, really, really hard and devastating too.
Yes.
And
I think every couple
does. So I mean, I'm just
big.
Putting it out there that
Yes.
it isn't just something that happens to you from exterior sources.
Yeah, sometimes
There's
it's decisions
personality
you've made
things,
personality things, or
financial
issues.
I mean, we were so in debt for so long.
And I don't want to compare financial issues to losing a child, because I think losing
It can be
two
really
children.
Yes,
I mean,
but see, along with it goes financial challenges.
yes, that's
Because
true.
Christopher, we had like student insurance, and then he died of sudden infant death,
Right.
and the funeral and everything. I mean, it makes me laugh. I didn't really understand
Finances
credit and
or
debt.
credit? Yeah.
So when we finally decided we needed to buy a home, we had 2 children, and we were renting, and it was whatever, and so I didn't have any idea they kept track. So when they told our credit report and they said, well, you have 13 delinquent accounts.
Oh,
I was like, is that bad? And so I'm like, but look, there's 3 good ones. I mean, I had no idea. But I honestly, we probably should have filed for medical bankruptcy or something. And instead, with student loans, I'm making $16,000 a year as his teacher. Richard's still working on his master's forever and ever. And I mean, and we had all that medical stuff, and we're paying rent. There was no money, and so we just paid what we could, and we didn't. And then it just took a long time of going through and,
Digging
now,
through that
I mean,
whole thing.
it was, we did it. And I learned a lot about credit. I learned about how to buy a home, and now here I am selling new homes.
Exactly.
30 years
and
of
a
selling
real
homes.
expert. Yeah, a real
Right,
expert.
really
at it.
know from the ground. So, but I'll say those kind of things happen, and even that can be something that just
can really create so much
Shake your
stress in the
marriage.
relationship.
Stressful.
It's the stress. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that stress, it's like putting, you're in this pressured situation, and the jelly comes out the sides. Like
Right.
the stress on people, us as individuals, and then as a couple, and then how do we as couples, work together to tolerate the stress and to support each other through that stress.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys have had a lot of things. And
that's what I just have to say. I probably have to have a lot of repenting to do at the pearly gates because I feel like things just had to whack me upside the head to pay attention and to take care of people. So it's all these things that happen. I'm so strong-willed. I think if the world would be a better place if I was in charge. I've learned that that's not the case. But it's taken 50 years for me to figure that out.
I actually think that's one of the things that's nice about getting a little bit older, is that you start really accepting your flaws. Instead of trying to resist that you have them, you're sort of like, yeah, it's me and all my flaws.
Yeah,
We're just
right.
here, and we're doing the best we can,
Yeah.
and you sort of are a little more aware and not fighting so hard for something, because you might actually be
and just
pretty
me
wrong.
kind of going obliviously along with, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is a great idea, and this is what we're going to have, and this is how it's all going to work.
Yeah.
And then getting hit in the face with something like something that is that I can't handle on my own.
Yeah.
And that I had to
Can't control.
Yeah. Can't control, and you have to figure out how to make some good come from it.
So have you given thought to how you, because I've been sort of seeing a lot of these, challenges, and seeing you guys stay together and really be very united. So it's almost like you had, and you're, still always keeping that music in your life and that love of music, and really sharing that together, and keeping the things that bring joy into your life. I mean, I've watched you do that. and I've watched you do things to connect with each other in a really real way by talking and sharing your thoughts and feelings. I mean, obviously Cassandra's sharing more thoughts and feelings than Richard is because she's a little chattier. But I do think that's it's like navigating through all these icebergs and all of these things and hitting icebergs and having icebergs hit you and, just thinking about how you've done that. I mean, it's very impressive, guys. It is, because it's a lot of things that you've navigated and had to have stayed holding each other up and holding each other together.
Well, you should talk. You have some thoughts?
I don't know. Don't you have my thoughts? No, it's okay.
Do either of you have any thoughts about?
I have tons.
I don't know. I mean, I think, because I think I'm kind of a pretty basic kind of person, that I don't get too complicated.
Reed always says,
I feel like one of the things when I decided early on was, again, that we wouldn't ever talk about divorce. But one of the, because we were talking about this the other night, one of the musicals we were in those first years was The Music Man. And there's a song in there that's in the stage version that's not in the movie version. And it's called My White Knight, and Marion sings it, and she's talking about
My White Knight?
My White Knight.
Okay.
And she's talking about what kind of a guy, because her mom's bugging her. When are you going to get married?
When are you going to get married? Okay.
And so Marion's explaining, well, this is what I'm looking for. And she goes through all these things, but what I thought was the best line in that was I want him to be more interested in me than he is in himself.
Oh.
And more interested in us than in me. So.
And that's what you've done. You've been that white knight, Richard. I love that.
It's so true.
Isn't
so
it?
true.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a really important thing. And I've been kind of thinking that, when couples are able to make the transition from me to we, that's a really important transition.
Yeah,
that
it is.
that we together need to matter a little more than just me alone.
Yeah.
If you want that relationship, if you want to just go on your own, you can do that. But if you want to have someone to go with, then
Well, and I think it's really good to just keep remembering. I mean, sometimes I like, I have a picture of Richard by my nightstand of when he was like 29, and he is gorgeous. I mean, he's still gorgeous.
I'm not so gorgeous anymore.
You're a handsome fella, Richard.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
true. I know. So remembering that person, he's in there. This really fun guy who's also quirky and has terrible puns and just the weirdest sense of humor sometimes, but makes me laugh. And then,
But still gets me in trouble, yeah.
but I was saying, I feel like I'm sort of scratch and sniff, like I'm all surface. I can talk, I can look, I blah, blah, blah. But, I listen to, I don't know, like mystery stories, like Agatha Christie, that's sort of, but Richard is reading serious level whatever, like, yes, literature and
All kinds
the
of things.
history of England and all of these things that are just way so deep,
Yeah.
So he just has a
He has more
lot
layers.
of depth.
He's like Shrek with the layers and the
There's
onion.
layers, like an onion.
Like an
Yes, I'm
onion.
an onion.
all
Not a
those
parfait.
layers.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just have to, I think that's a big thing, being able to remember, having that core of time and that time that you keep reminding each other, why did I marry you?
Right.
What was it about you that sparked me? And how can we hold on to that? Because we're still that person in there.
Yes.
We change, but we don't, you hopefully get a little bit better as you get older, but I don't know that you don't have a total personality change.
I've always really felt like if you focus on the qualities and the things that you really, really love about that person, instead of focusing on the things that are
The things that are bugging you.
irritating
Yeah.
that it's way nicer experience for you. If you're enjoying, you're focusing on those things that you really like about them.
You have to keep
Yeah.
perspective.
Keep person.
What's really important here? Yeah.
Yeah, what's important.
And I have to say, like I was telling you about our experience where I would come back after being gone for a week, and then we'd have to like get used to being in each other's space again. And I think like even when we go and do these couple of days away,
Yeah.
there's still like the first thing where we're just
Irritated with
arguing
each other.
about which dinner. Well, I thought you wanted to do this. Well, I don't want you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just whatever weird things, and then we just have to get over that and get back to the point where we can talk like humans again.
Have fun and let some of the stressors of your life go away.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that bug you about each other, has there been anything that you say, all right, I just need to accept this about my spouse. I just need to accept it. I've been trying for 43 years now to change it about my spouse. It's not happened.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to accept it about them. Do you have some things anything that pops to mind? Because the reason
Well, I think we've talked about some of them because
Yeah.
she's much more impulsive than I am, and I've learned to embrace that to some extent. It takes me a little while to come around, but I mean that's one of those things.
Well, and for me too.
So you've accepted she's going to be impulsive, and if it's not dangerous for us, we're going to just go with
Let's
the
see where
flow.
we go. Let's go with it. No. Seeing she would do things like say, "Hey, let's go to bed at 3:00 in the afternoon. Put everybody to bed, and we'll get up at 2 in the morning, and we'll drive to Disneyland, and we'll
Okay.
spend the day there, and then we'll come back." And I would be like, "What?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's insane." But then we do it, and I'm glad those are experiences that I'm glad we had.
They were
Right.
fun. They
Fun-
were really
fun
fun. Those
outings,
overnight,
yeah.
like, because I can get up early and
Yes,
be
you
awake
can
and
go.
drive.
You're unusual.
Yes,
You can go.
right.
no
And so
sleep.
everybody else can just sleep in the car, and then we get there, and it's like, okay, put your shoes on. We're going to Disneyland. Then Matthew says, I forgot my shoes. That did happen once.
Yeah, we did.
No.
I know.
Okay,
We had to
so
wait
that's
for
a
the
good
store to
one,
open
that
and
you've
buy
learned to
Mickey
accept some
Mouse
of
shoes
that,
for 'em.
accept some of that impulsiveness, and if no
Well,
one's
and
getting
by the
hurt,
same-
it's not
yeah.
going to create a big problem. Then you're going to just go with the flow.
Yeah, and I mean, and there were other things, and I knew that they were important to her, and I just had to support her in them with her singing and being gone every weekend, especially during concert season, and I just have to plan on being gone
Yeah.
for 4 days in a row,
Yeah.
every night, and anyway.
So
Right,
is there
well-
anything about Richard, Cassandra? that
Yeah,
you've
well, I mean,
learned
I
to
think it's
accept?
kind of the opposite thing, is that I have to understand too that when I tell him I'm excited about this great idea and I'm telling him and he doesn't respond in an excited way, I just have to know I just need to give him time.
He's
you know?
processing it. Yeah.
And I even said that to Jeremy the other day. He was like, well, I talked to Dad about it. He doesn't seem very good. I said, just give him 24 hours. He just needs to just
think
needs
about it
to absorb it,
and see
you
if
know,
it's-
and then we can talk about it again. He just needs some time. So I'm like, can't you just be a little quicker like me?
Right? Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So, what about things you've learned from each other? Have you learned anything wonderful from the other person that you think, boy, this is?
Oh, let's see, how many hours?
You're
You
funny.
feel like you've had a lot of things you've learned from
Oh
it?
yeah, but I don't know. I don't even know where to start. But yeah,
When someone's really different from you,
yeah.
there's a lot of
learning to do.
things that are potential learning opportunities, right? Yeah.
Really? You've really learned things from me.
Well,
sort of news
no,
to me.
we've talked about those things already. About
Well, I mean, that there are
you've
things
got-
I have ideas
You've gotten
that
me
we
to do things and be in musicals and
You know, I think that's like one of the best things Mom taught us is that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And I tell her that all the time. Mom, you taught me you can do hard things. This is a hard thing. You can do it.
I always kind of joke. She was like the ultimate, and I don't know what it would be titled now in terms of parenting, but she was the kind of parent who, if you came home, if you did one of those classic kid things she was like super supportive, but if you came home and said, I have to have a costume by tomorrow, and, or I have to have a report, I have to have a, thing that we have to build a little diagram, and her way of responding was always like, oh, I know you can do it. So she wasn't really the kind of mom who'd run
Who
out
jumps
and do
in
it
and do
for
it.
you.
No,
but she'd cheer while you did it.
Right,
you
well,
know,
you did it. That was good. 'Cause
So
we
it
really
definitely, helped all of us to be very able to take on
right.
things.
Yeah. Well, and
But yes, to answer your question, yes, there are tons and tons of things I've learned from you, but I didn't prepare that in my head.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
I've got
sorry.
to think about
No,
that one.
that's
And
fine.
I won't,
You can
yes,
tell
no,
me
I
later.
am not I'm not the same person. And I know
you
that.
were before.
That I was before, and I know that I all these things that I know there are, but to ask me to enumerate them right now,
It's
I'm not going to have them at my
You don't have to.
fingertips.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I think it is
and I
challenging.
think I have the same thoughts too. That there are a lot of things that I've learned from Richard, but I don't know. I was thinking more about what I thought that I really, really appreciate about
Yes.
Richard,
Tell us that.
and that is I mean, there's a lot of things, but I just have to say, his commitment to family and his commitment to me, it's just astonishing. I mean, it's like like acknowledging that there's air that we breathe, and this is just how it is.
Yeah.
We have family, and we take care of family. So he doesn't want to come to whatever, because we're a lot. Our family is pretty strong, but he just comes and will always be there, and I don't have to kick him out of bed in the morning to go to work. I don't have to kick him out of bed to come drag him to church with me. Like he's just will do it and is solid and reliable.
Wholeheartedly, yeah.
And I don't have to worry. He's not like a child to me. You know what I mean? Sometimes he is. Sometimes I'm like, come on.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Sorry about that.
So that's, and I think, with how big our family is and how challenging it is, it's one thing that's great about Reed is that he's been so great and so supportive of our family. But that's a hard thing with all of the siblings and their spouses and where you gravitate and who hurts your feelings or whatever. And now, I mean, it's really like, it was not very long of you being introduced to my family when if I complained about him, they were like, no, Richard's perfect. All you guys, you like him better than me.
He's an original. He
is.
belongs in the original
is.
group. So
So that's definitely a glue. It's kept our family really strong, and I really appreciate, because it takes a lot of self-sacrifice to kind of give up what you want for a greater cause, and to and to feel like this is my job. I need to be here for her and for her family and to help them and my family. So
yeah, I do think there can be some real self-sacrifice. I always think of relationships as like you're in a bubble together and you each get a certain amount of space in the bubble, and you're sort of always your bubble and his bubble are sort of negotiating the space in the bubble, and you might be taking up a lot of space in the bubble and he has to shrink down to a little bit less space, and then he might grow a little in the bubble and you might have to shrink down a little in the bubble. So I don't know why I think about it that way, but I think there probably is, some couples who are able to have a perfectly equal 50-50 bubble, and
if they are, I think they are kind of living their own lives to some extent.
I don't think so, because because life's never that steady.
right.
I mean, somebody's going to have some situation that they need more of the bubble. And it's
So if you guys could float outside your body back in time and talk to yourselves in your younger years, would you have any advice for that person? For that young gal after she just had her whole throw up fit in the ER? And no, I mean, before you got married or when you were early married, is there any advice that you think, oh, I wish that I had known this or understood this?
I don't know. We talked about this before, and the first thing I thought was, I'd tell myself, lighten up, dude.
Not so serious. Things
You're
are
not so serious.
serious.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I don't know if that's accurate or not, but maybe
but
I
the
was
weight
never
of it
maybe I was never very
The
serious.
weight of
I
it
don't know.
maybe felt really heavy at that time.
Yeah.
And,
Right. Well, it's true. There are times when it's like I say something, it's like it's a crisis. like, what? We have to do this? And I'm like, just calm down. It's going to be fine. Even though he's very steady and even killed, I definitely know how to push his buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about this, and I just think I am so strong-willed that I don't think I would have listened to myself. I would have just said, yeah, that's what you think. Just let me show you.
Just watch me.
And
Let's just assume you would listen. Let's assume that you're like, oh, wow, my hair looks really good at that age. I'm like going to listen to this lady.
Right. No, I think though it's really more about that kind of goes back to all of those challenges, all of those hard things that happen in your life is what makes you who you are. And for me, I needed to learn compassion. I needed to learn perspective. I needed to learn that like all the positive optimism that I have, I needed to be able to learn to use it in a different way and to figure out ways to help people and not just do my own like thing, whatever, just forge ahead of wherever it is.
So do you feel like for your marriage, so that's kind of like our overarching global thing for your humanity, right?
Yeah,
like that this pain and suffering really
But I
did
think
teach
that
you a
that
lot of
encompasses my marriage and my family and my children and everything. I learned a ton of stuff that I'm still trying to learn. But, I've learned those things like holding a grudge just gives you pain. It's like you said, it's like drinking poison and hoping they die. So that's not worth it. Like figuring out, forgive, and say you're sorry. It costs you nothing to apologize. And it costs you nothing, just to somehow open your heart. So, I think all those things, they sound like platitudes in a way. They're kind of like forgive sooner. Don't get so wrapped
Don't
up
hold
in
on
how
to
great.
how right you are.
Yeah, right. And just like have some humility. You're not as great as you think you are.
So that one
Figure
maybe.
out.
Yeah, you are.
Figure out what you can learn from people.
Yeah.
And talk less. I still say that to myself. I'm trying. I need a
verbal processor, that's probably hard.
It's
for
hard.
someone who processes their thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, verbally. So that's Well, those are some great things. So, do you have any last marriage advice that you'd feel like, okay, I'd love to, just this is what I think has really helped us because you guys have had a lot of hardship and things that have been really challenging, and you've done it. Congratulations. It's like
Well,
We're not done yet.
over.
I
We're
know,
not.
we're
I
not
know.
over, but that's, I guess I'm just
Right.
saying, though, that if you look back and say, wow, we have done all that and we've gotten through all that together
Yeah.
intact. We still love each other. We still want to spend time together. We still, we really care a lot about our family. We're all of those things. It's really something to and obviously you've had a lot of achievements through that time as well.
No, we've
So,
had-
there's a lot to be proud of. So, do you feel like there's any last words of advice you'd want to share?
I feel like I've been sharing advice. I don't know.
Well, you've been sharing your story, and I think
Yeah.
people do learn and hear a story and can see parts of
Yeah,
it.
I still think, but I think, the advice, I still think I've talked about any advice I might have too, which is things I had to learn, which is just
I have no.
just have your priorities in place.
Have your priorities in place.
Know that your family's more important than you are.
Oh, that's a good one, and that really does epitomize who you are, Richard. You're a very, very, very generous soul,
Yes.
isn't he? He is. Okay,
It's true.
Cassandra now.
Well, it's funny because, it's always the times when I feel like things are going along fine, we're happy, everything's great.
Yeah.
And then something happens because it's often like an extraneous circuit. It's like
Right, something out of your
it's
control.
it's just like a critical decision that needs to be made, and that's when we suddenly realize that we're not in sync and we don't agree and we're fighting.
Right.
So we love each other, and everybody may think we have just this really wonderful relationship, but it's not
It's not always a bed of roses.
Yeah.
We're still individuals.
Yeah,
That's right. We still respond in different ways.
I think that's how
and-
everybody is. I think everybody has
Yeah.
to, they're their own person and they're,
Yeah. But I think, you know, I know we both really believe this, that marriage is about commitment. It's not about love. I mean, there are all these important things, but it is that, and I think of it as like, again, I mentioned, you wouldn't divorce your children. I mean, there are people, I guess, who, whatever, something happens and they don't ever see their children, or there's some big estrangement. But really, you know, when you have a connection with your children, no matter how stupid they are, no matter how much they
Just
irritate
love
you, no
'em,
matter
love
they
'em,
are,
love 'em.
you still love them. You still want to
do.
forgive them. And I feel like that's how I should treat my spouse.
Mm.
Is that, I mean, we made a commitment to each other, just like I agreed to have this baby. I did, you know, and now they're here and I'm taking care of them, and this is what I do now. And this is what I do, is that I am going to be, I mean, we're in this for the long haul. And so I have to figure out, how can I live with this strange human that it does not think like me at all, you know, and how can I appreciate all those things that I do love about him? And just kind of remembering that, it's like you weather the storms and there will be the good times, but you also have to find them. You've also got to make them.
make them, make the
things
good
happen.
times and make, yeah, exactly. And think them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your thoughts really do control your feelings a lot. I think people think that their feelings just come, but they come from your thoughts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I love that. I think that's really nice. And I so appreciate you guys being so candid and open and sharing so much of yourselves and some of your really big challenges and things that parents should never have to go through. And, but you
But then
guys.
look at how much fun we've had. Look at what great life.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we live like kings, all of us. You know, we're so
I know.
we're so blessed,
Yes.
and we're so lucky. And we have great kids, and we have smile.
I am smiling.
Okay, we have a really good
She says she can't tell if I'm smiling or not because of my mustache.
because it has a downward turn.
So I've got to make an extra effort.
Well, as we get older, sometimes their mouths start going
It
down.
does start to
anyway,
kind of.
so,
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's true. So I think like there's so many great experiences and so much wisdom we've been able to learn. I mean, there's still a lot ahead. I know there is, but
Yeah, a lot of good things out in the future.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice way to look at it. And I think, yeah, you always have a choice to look on the upside or the really horrible, tragic downside. And so we have to just keep making that choice to look on the
Yes.
upside.
you can cry or you can laugh.
Right? Or you can.
Crying gives you a headache.
Exactly.
So
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I just really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure and a joy. And I've really loved having you guys, your marriage, and around us and in our world and your way.
well, and we've learned so much from you.
Oh,
So that's been you're
one
my
of the
role
nice things
model.
about having family and people who
Right.
love you nearby is you
Yeah.
can share secrets
Yeah.
and support each other. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Good.